Today, I'm on Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and I'm going to reveal some hidden historical gems that you never heard of.
In order to accomplish this mission, I brought a small camera with me to not attract too much attention. And I told the tour guide that I am going to focus on history, not politics, even though he smiled and said, look, on Temple Mount, everything is political, but I want to focus on Jewish history and to basically talk about what happened here in Second Temple era. I think it's going to be fascinating. So join me and let's do it. But before we enter Temple Mount, I just have to quickly show you, because over here, it's where Jesus walked. This is behind me, an original Roman street with the original stones. You can also see stones that fallen during the siege on Jerusalem, the destruction of the Second Temple. And it's really amazing because this is behind us, history. And over there, up there, you can actually see on that corner, there were every Friday in biblical times, the priest would come to there and announce the entrance of Shabbat. Now, why did he do that? He did it because it is believed that, well, obviously because the city of David is in that place. So you can see this is what it looked like in biblical times from Second Temple period. This is the bridge. You can see what remains of it, and this is also where it is believed that Jesus flipped the tables, because in this shopping center there were all the money changers, and that is to the entrance of the Temple Mount. That's what it is believed according to historians. And you also have to know that this is today, the small part that people pray today, it's only a small fraction of what was the Western Wall. The Western Wall was 480 meters, and it's from that corner all the way
to the north, to the Via Dolorosa.
all the way to Via Dolorosa. So we are now on Temple Mount, and you can see it is fairly empty, but I really want to show you, you have all these stones that are actually from the Roman era, be it Second Temple period. And actually, something really interesting that most people will not show you is that there are actually remains of gold. I don't know if you can see it here. There are there's some gold even left on the stones that are from the Roman era on Temple Mount. You can see this is the main entrance to Al-Aqsa Mosque. They remove the shoes here and then they enter.
Holy cats.
Holy cats. The cats of Jerusalem. And by the way, big shout out to Tzachi Yitzchak Samia. He is an expert in guiding on Temple Mount, especially Second Temple era. And if you want a tour, be sure to contact him. I'm gonna leave you his information down below in the description or in the comment section. So guys, something really cool that you have to learn about Temple Mount is that we're actually standing on ground, right, on stone, but underneath, and you see this whole compound behind me, there is a whole mosque underneath me, basically, and it's called
Marwani and King Solomon stables.
Marwani and King Solomon stables. I'm going to explain to you more about the King Solomon stables, but that's just insane. You see, this whole compound has an underground space that is called the Mosque of Marwani, and it's really interesting. Also, the King Solomon stables, I'm going to explain to you more about that. We're looking at the third holiest site in Islam. This is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and what's really interesting is this Rosetta here. Now, this really resembles Christian era, and actually, I have to tell you, my tour guide says that it is believed that actually the Crusaders, when they took over this land and the building, they actually used it as a church. And evidently, you see this Rosetta that really resembles Christian architecture, specifically Crusader era architecture.
We are now in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Al-Aqsa Mosque is the third holiest place for the Islam. And here the Gold Dome, but first the Islam have Mecca, second Medina, and then Al-Aqsa. They believe that from here Muhammad fly with his white magical horse Al-Buraq to meet Allah, God, and all the prophets, and he get one of the pillars of the Islam that you must to pray 5 times a day. And it's happened here. This is why it's holy for the Muslims.
This is the city of David from the southern part of Temple Mount and the modern Silwan neighborhood. So an interesting point is that according to the Muslim faith, everything on this compound is considered holy, not just the third holiest site, Al-Aqsa Mosque or Dome of the Rock that I'm going to show you, but also leaves. You cannot tear leaves. You cannot pick up stones and take them from here. They're all part of this holy compound. And remember what I told you about things being political? So obviously you already know, and I know what you guys are thinking about, not picking up stones or, not even leaves, but that's how it's supposed to be. Something really interesting that you should know is that the whole southern part of Temple Mount, this compound, is built on a set of arches and columns that basically hold this floor where I stand. And there is a really interesting point that I want the tour guide to explain to you.
So approximately every 100 years, here in the Middle East, in Jerusalem, earthquake. And here in the Temple Mount, we have 2 buildings, the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Dome of the Rock stood on the rock, the top of the Moriah Hill, the top of the hill. So it's not shaky. And Al-Aqsa destroyed, part of the Al-Aqsa destroyed and rebuilt, renew every time after every earthquake. So here you see the original building, and here in Al-Aqsa it's rebuilt, renewed after every earthquake.
And this is really mind-blowing because approximately every 100 years there is a massive earthquake in Jerusalem, in the Middle East in general, and you heard it affected the structure of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I'm only left with the question, what's going to happen in the next earthquake that is supposed to happen, I don't know when. Do we have an estimate when it's...
It's have to come in these years.
So the tour guide, Tsachi, is saying that it's actually supposed to happen in our times. That's really mind-blowing. I didn't know that this whole southern compound is actually built on a set of columns and arches. So actually where we stand, it's we stand on it's not ground. Underneath us there is the arches and the columns that hold this whole compound, because you have to remember that Mount Moriah, where we stand, wasn't a big mountain. It was just a hill when in the time of Abraham, when he brought Isaac here. But then when they built this, the temple, they used this whole, with what they built, they used columns and arches in order to allow people to basically come up to the temple and pray here. Another interesting point that it's a reason for a lot of the tension here, it's the sifting project. Let me explain. This is the King Solomon stables behind me. Now we're talking about Second Temple era. The underground compound, basically under the floor, it was also here during the Second Temple period. But when the Muslims came here, the Waqf cleared out. There was a lot of dirt, sand, stones, and they just cleared it out and took the this ground and they just dumped it like trucks after trucks after trucks. And I think it happened around 1997. And they this is a cause for a lot of tension because they basically threw holy ground. Remember what I told you about, but also on top of that, they were throwing really treasures of history. So until this day, there is this thing called the sifting project. There are people that can come. I think they threw it over, not too far from Temple Mount compound, but outside the compound. Until this day, there are people that are coming, excavating, filtering through the sand and the stones, and sometimes even find interesting findings. So it all happened here, taking ground in order to clear out this underground compound. Well, it's not really underground, but you guys understand me. And yeah, dumping tons of ground, holy ground from here. Some may say that it was a deliberate attempt to try and remove and erase Jewish history from Temple Mount.
Actually, Hananya, they took 400 trucks to the sifting projects close to Mount of Olives, Mount Corpus, close to the Hebrew University, and 220,000 volunteers till today already work in this project, the sifting project. And
Trying to find historical treasures.
Sometimes they find coins, all the history that came from this Temple Mount area.
Here you can see a group of Jewish people coming and basically taking a tour, heavily guarded, and they can only enter from 7 a.m. until I think 11. And yeah, so it's very, very limited. Yeah, and of course they cannot enter without police escort. Now I'm talking about groups of Jewish worshippers that want to see and basically to pay their respects to this holy ground. And actually it's not just for Jews. Anyone who is not Muslim cannot enter this Temple Mount compound after these hours, 7 a.m. till 11 a.m. you can enter, you can go. After that, it's closed. Only Muslims can enter. This point is really interesting. This is the Golden Gate. Now you've seen many photos of it from the other side, from Mount of Olives. Behind me is Mount of Olives. Here it's actually from the side of the Temple Mount. Now it's really interesting because in the Ottoman era, the Ottoman ruler actually sealed this gate with cement, and the story says that he did it because he believed that that is going to block the entry of Jewish Messiah, Christian Messiah, any Messiah, because it is believed by Jews and also Christians. It's not a consensus in Judaism, but some believe that Messiah is going to enter the Temple Mount from the Golden Gate. So that's a really mysterious part of the Temple Mount. And actually, I asked if I can go down and show you, but according to the status quo, the peace treaty with Jordan, it's not allowed to go down. And also, an interesting point, they turned it into a mosque. So this Golden Gate, I guess it's now a mosque. How many mosques are there on the Temple Mount compound in total? 3.
Like 100.
100?
Simple, small mosques.
I
We are
see.
going to meet soon the school inside.
Oh
There
my
is a
goodness.
school here with some mosques inside the school.
He says,
El Mawlawiya
a
area.
professional tour guide says that there are about 100, little, big, but like 100, official, not official mosques on the Temple Mount compound.
Because every platform that you see here with Mahrab and Qibla, it's also a mosque.
Wow,
You
okay.
see, platform, Mahrab, Qibla. Platform, Mahrab, Qibla, direction to Mecca.
Oh, wow. So this is really, really interesting. You can see the entrance. So you're looking at this here and it looks like just regular carpet, but this is a very, very intense part of the conflict here on Temple Mount. Let me explain. So when they were digging, filtering through the grounds that were taken and dumped away from here, they found pieces of cedar tree, big logs. And we know that Solomon brought logs of cedar from Syria and Lebanon. All over the Middle East, we don't have cedar, only in that part of the Middle East, Syria and Lebanon. And they found them while going through the grounds that were dumped from Temple Mount. The Waqf took these pieces, that are now pieces of cedar tree, and they, I don't know if hid them because we know about it, and they're in this carpet that I showed you. Now, there is right now an ongoing conflict in the court because the Israel Antique Authority, among others, they demand these historical pieces of cedar that are believed, and it's confirmed that it's cedar, it was tested, that are believed to be parts of the first temple. And they demand for these pieces of cedar to be brought to the Museum of Israel or other museums. So it's right now in court, and until it reaches a museum, we can see and look at these pieces of cedar tree from Solomon's temple hidden in this carpet here, right next to the Golden Gate. And the reason that Golden Gate is such a mysterious site, it's because it's important and pivotal for all 3 religions, Judaism, even though it's not consensus in Judaism, but Christianity and even Islam, and all refer to the end times. So the Muslims, their end times version is that in the end times, there's going to be an arch, seven arches, 7 arches that basically create a bridge. And only the righteous Muslims will be able to cross the bridge from the Golden Gate to Mount of Olives. So if you're righteous, you can cross the gate. If you're not, you're gonna fall. You're not gonna make it. So that's their version of the end times. Now, it's also believed Palm Sunday, right? I don't know if you joined this beautiful march. I was there. So it's believed that when Jesus entered to the city, this was the main entrance, and he entered through here, through what is still today, the Golden Gate. Remember the verse where they said, welcome in the name of God, in free translation. So it happened here. So why today Palm Sunday March is not taking place here? First of all, it's sealed. It's now a mosque. Outside there's a Muslim cemetery, and so they march and enter through the Lion's Gate, which is the closest to this part. And I mentioned it before, but if you didn't see this previous video, so the reason that there is a Muslim cemetery outside the gates, it's again believed to take away or block the holiness and block the Messiah from entering here. But on the other hand, there is a Jewish cemetery on Mount of Olives, and the oldest that is still was still active. They still bury dead, but it's super expensive to be buried on Mount of Olives, because there is also, again, in Jewish tradition, when there's going to be the resurrection, Jews also believe in that. I don't know if it's consensus or not. Tour guide said that, some Jews that want to be buried, they choose Mount of Olives because they want to be first in line to enter. I don't know if with the Messiah, follow the Messiah when the end times come. So it's really interesting. There's this Golden Gate plays a pivotal, it's pivotal to all three religions for the end times. So now we stand here. It's very quiet. What's going to happen in end times? Of course, only God knows, and pastors. I'm kidding, it's funny, but pastors always seem to have their version of end times, but I'm here to tell you about history, not a theory or something. It's just interesting to observe.
כמה שקט, רגוע ופסטורלי פה.
כן.
אין מלחמה. זה בשבילי זה הפרסה של הבניין הזה.
So I arrived. You can see the Dome of the Rock behind me. Now, something really interesting, the tour guide calls this place, he said, you can also call this place a holy terminal, where holy people from the three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, come and go, ascend and descend. And it's really interesting how from here you can see basically all three religions. Here in Jerusalem, you see churches, you see mosques, like the one behind me, and you can also see the synagogues in the Jewish quarter. And interesting point, the tour guide said that there is this competition of who builds the tallest dome. So right now, the tallest dome in Jerusalem, it's this white one. It's called Tiferet Israel. It's a synagogue, and that is currently the tallest dome in Jerusalem. So that's kind of, I don't know if it's part of the tension and conflict, but it's a competition. And yeah, so exactly in this point is where the altar stood. Super interesting. And right now this is an open mosque for the women. So whenever the men come and pray, the women, they use this mosque because it has the Qibla and Maghrib. So they use it and they pray with the direction to Mecca. So that's really interesting to see, and the architecture as well. And something interesting is that on the walls of this mosque, there are two surahs, equivalent to chapters, two chapters from the Quran that are written on the walls. One thing you notice is that it's very peaceful here, very quiet. And this stands at the center of so big part of the conflict. But when you actually come here, you see that it's fairly quiet most of the time of the year. Now another interesting point is that actually this is not the holiest site in Islam. This is the Dome of the Rock. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, the gray dome, that's the third holy site in Islam. This actually stands on the holiest site in Judaism. Like I told you, the Holy of Holies is inside there, and Jews are not permitted to enter. So here you can see water cistern, and also here it's not in use, but obviously during biblical times they did not have any water sources. Remember, in a lot of battles over Jerusalem, one of the big things was in sieges is blocking water. So this is a water cistern, and there is a underneath here, I don't know if exactly where we stand, but like I told you, in the southern part of the Temple Mount compound, that it's hollow. So in this part, somewhere here underneath, there is water. So that's actually very interesting. That again, this whole compound stands atop something. So remember what I talked to you about, that there are about 100 mosques here on the Temple Mount compound. So you can see here, this is a version of a mosque. It has to have a platform, a makhrab, which is this side, and Qibla, which is facing Mecca, Saudi Arabia, which is that way. So technically here it's kosher. Muslims can pray here because they have these three key components: platform, makhrab, direction to Mecca. So we're right now at the northernmost part of the Temple Mount. You see, it's actually very interesting because here it kind of starts to look like stone, and yeah, that's actually on that corner behind me. It's the western wall continues all the way up until that point, and we are in a place called Antonia Fortress. So like I showed you previously, the northernmost part of Temple Mount, this is where it is believed that Pontius Pilate basically judged Jesus and basically sentenced him. There were crowds, as it is documented in the New Testament, crowds that wanted him to be crucified, and that's the place here on the Temple Mount compound. I think it's just fascinating, and right outside the walls behind me starts Via Dolorosa. So from here he started and carried the cross all the way to where he was crucified. Now that's also a mystery, an idea for another video. I do have an idea where he was crucified and buried. If you want me to talk about it in my next video, let me know. Another interesting point is that you can see behind me, this is a school called Al-Omar, I guess the only school inside the Temple Mount compound. Obviously now there are no students here because this is their summer break. But again, it's really interesting. Arab school inside the Temple Mount. You can see it's right there, the Dome of the Rock. You can see, so that's really, really interesting. So there you have it. This is really hidden gems here on Temple Mount. There's a lot of history, really interesting stuff going on. Please make sure to comment, let me know what do you think. Have you ever been on Temple Mount in Jerusalem? You're more than welcome to come. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I invite you to also visit theisraelstore.com. Show your love for businesses here in Israel that are struggling, especially under the weight of the war. Tourism is really, as you can see, it's very, very empty. So by you standing with Israel, this is one of the best ways that you can do it. And by the way, if you come during these times of war, you're gonna enjoy the whole place to yourself. No lines, no packed tourism sites. You've got all the place to yourself. So I highly recommend you to visit Israel, especially during this season. Thank you so much for the tour, Tzachi. It was so delightful. And,
You're welcome.
And I will tell you this, it can take days to see everything. So we've been here for a few hours, and I feel like I need to come back and back and back. So yeah, thank you so much for the explanations.